What's going on, ladies and gents? Cerebro here for T3G, and today doing a little something special. We'd like to do upgrades here. At T3G, we believe taking what you have and making it better gives you something new. What I have here is I have a PNY. What model is this? Optima SSD 480 gigabyte. So that's almost 512, almost 500 gig basically. I've got a ballistics. I got a Crucial Ballistics 16 gig kit. It should match the 8 gigs that I've got in my MacBook. Now, SSDs are not usually done, like SSD upgrades are not done on MacBooks usually, just because the Apple Store doesn't do them, I believe, and most of the new MacBook Pros, it's all built in and you can't take anything out. So this is actually a 2012 MacBook, which is still sold as the base 13-inch model. Grab my tools here. So what we're going to do here, basically, we're going to pop the bottom off, we're going to swap out the parts, and we're going to do a fresh installation of Yosemite, make sure everything is running super smooth. The real reason I'm doing this is I bought this with 8 gigs. It's got the 500 gig hard drive, and what I found is recently, even off several clean installs, I've reinstalled it a few times, wiped everything, full clean install. I still have some performance issues. It still kind of lags on startup. It takes me about 1.5 to 2 minutes to start up, and I'm just kind of done with that. So I want to go to SSD and I want to increase the RAM just to kind of get the best out of the whole thing. So let's get into it. All right, so I take every opportunity to make sure all my stuff is clean. So got my microfiber. I applied some, this is actually screen cleaner. Pretty much anything that's not super abrasive, I like to either go with like a screen cleaner or a Windex that's got, what is it, Spring Rain or something. It's kind of like, what's the word? It has no ammonia, that's the word, phrase rather. It has no ammonia, so you want to make sure that you're getting something that's not super abrasive, that doesn't have ammonia, just so you're making, you're not damaging your product. So I had a few smudges, so cleaned it up. You also want to make sure you're using the right tools. There's, dozens of Phillips head screwdrivers. This PH0 bit here looks like it's going to work the best for me. I'm going to try out, make sure it's solid. And the first and foremost thing I want to say about this, I've been working on computers for about 15 years now. I've done laptop hard drives, desktop, any kind of hardware work that can be done, I've done it. So I'm super comfortable with this kind of stuff. If you are not comfortable with it, if you have never done a hardware install on a laptop specifically, because if you've done desktops but you've never done laptops, make sure you've got somebody around that's done it before, just because it's a different universe. Desktops are easier, and if you've never done any kind of hardware work, absolutely make sure you have somebody with you, or you have somebody do it that does know what they're doing. Because, you know what, you don't want to make that, even if it's your own device, you don't want to make that mistake. And, this is a pretty expensive computer, let's be honest. You don't want to make that mistake and say, all right, I think I know what I'm doing, and then you mess it up, and then whose fault is it? It's your own. You can't, maybe you can't afford, because that's why you are doing an upgrade and not buying a whole new computer, is you can't afford a whole new computer. But if you do something that's going to jack up the whole situation, you're going to have to buy a new computer. So if you are not 100% comfortable with it, don't do it. Take it to somebody who has the experience and has the, hopefully, insurance, because then if they mess it up, they can get it repaired and replaced.
Absolutely.
So let's get these off. Always make sure you're getting everything. Make sure you're putting them back in the right spot. Make sure you're not screwing up the order. So, those are all off. It's like, I've never actually taken apart one of these, so it kind of picks up right here under the hinge. Make sure you do it slowly, just in case there's any kind of connections. Put it aside. Make sure you check everything prior to actually doing any work. So we're looking to make sure that we're not grabbing on anything. When we do unplug the hard drive, we're going to make sure everything's out of the way that needs to be out of the way. So let's see here. Okay, so I think we're going to need to move the battery out the way. Yeah, that doesn't have travel, so this is on one thing. Do not remove battery. I know. Do not remove battery. This is a completely different screw. These are T-screws, so let's look at that real quick. Oh, it pops up. Okay, so we don't have to remove the battery. Cool. Those are T-screws, but these are still Phillips. I'm gonna bet it's gonna be the same. Looks like I've got some dust collected in the fan, so I'm gonna make sure to take my compressed air to that before I close it up. Pretty straightforward.
That's easy enough.
Pretty straightforward. Alright. You want to make sure any of the ribbon cables, treat them very gently. Make sure they're not damaged in any way. So this has Torx bit screws that need to be put onto the SSD. So let's pull this bad boy out. This is a SSD we picked up Black Friday. I think it was $180.
80, I believe. I think
180.
I just recently saw the receipt again.
Which is kind of sad because
we don't want to talk about it.
So many other things have gone on sale, and now these things are like $130.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's all about timing, especially with SSD pricing going down pretty steep these days.
Which is awesome. I don't think we could ask for more.
Yeah, really. I mean, you
Thanks,
can't.
tech industry.
Yeah, you really can't complain about it going too cheap. So you want to make sure that it's the same size, just so it's not going to have any kind of looseness. This seems to be the exact same size, so I'm going to leave this riser for a different occasion if one comes up. So let's move this out real quick.
Not gonna lie, I thought it was gonna be more of a thing.
Yeah, honestly, I thought it would fight a little more, but thankfully, pretty straightforward. Let's get these Torx bits. First try, look at that. What's that, a T6 it looks like? Now that's presuming I put these back in the right order, because I've taken them out before. Now this is still a usable drive, so I might at some point, I don't use the optical drive on this, and there is kind of a mod, I guess, to put a full-size drive underneath where the optical goes, so that would involve removing the optical drive section and putting in one of these guys. So I might hold on to this since it's already properly formatted and put that in there, but we'll see about that down the line. So that is this way. We'll make sure this gets put back on. So if you need to take it out later for some reason, still have the ease of access. I swear, sometimes the people who make this stuff don't consider that big nerds like me are usually going to be the ones working on it. So everything's tiny, but my hands are gigantic, so it's hard to manage it all.
I'm excited.
This should be awesome.
I can't wait to see this thing fly.
Yeah. I should have recorded it prior.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, should have recorded the startup.
Yeah, it is what it is.
You know. Besides, we're going to be doing a fresh install, so it's not even fair. There's less things starting up. I do need to copy my software over there. Big thing to remember if you're doing any kind of OS X reinstall is even if you have a Time Machine backup, certain apps, certain software will need to be reinstalled fully. Like Office doesn't like to be cloned over, or well, cloned over is not that big a deal, but Office doesn't like to be restored from a backup because it needs that license. Microsoft is really big on their licensing, so I think understandably so. So you definitely want to make sure you got that license prior to erasing everything, so you don't lose anything. Okay. Make sure you line it up. Let's not screw that away. It's not sitting right. Let's try that again. So pretty much go straight in. And this stick.
Tightens onto that screw.
It is a T6. Look at that. It was in the right place. And this is a PH0. Man,
They're in order.
they're actually in the right spots. Astonishing.
I would have to say this is tenfold easier than my Asus.
I mean, the Asus was
That was a beast.
that was a special flower in and of itself in a lot of ways, man. But I mean, again, it depends on what kind of computer you're dealing with, and it depends on what kind of upgrade you're doing. Because the RAM was pretty straightforward when we did when we did your RAM, it wasn't that big a deal. So I'll make sure I don't lose those screws. So we're gonna point away. If you're gonna do this, make sure this stays vertical. Make sure you don't shake this, because then bad things happen. And make sure you don't inhale. Come on, kids. We're all adults here.
Yep. Be safe.
So this is an aluminum frame, so as you can see, I've been touching it the whole time. But let's see, just make sure here before I start swapping things out. Make sure it's a matching set. 12800. It's a pretty high-end RAM, actually.
Yeah.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. The latency is a little off, but hopefully that'll not be that big a deal.
The latency is going to be a little different because these are smaller sticks. Smaller sticks usually have a smaller latency. So, because we're going to two 8 gig sticks instead of two 4 gig sticks. So that's going to be a little off, but that shouldn't affect anything. Or at least not anything for it to not run.
Right.
The easiest package ever.
Was that actually already opened? Because I did.
No, I think that's just how easy those are.
Yeah, well, these are fresh.
Oh no, these are fresh.
Great. So make sure you're not using too much force. Okay. Alright. So it's pretty straightforward. I think I've got like 4% battery. So let's put this back on. Never ever flip this over without putting the case back on, kids.
As much as it might seem
So-
easier to do it, just to test it, don't do it.
So just, you know, put it back on so it's still got the grounding, it's got the feet, it's not going to move around. So many reasons. That's kind of funny. Let's see here. We have boot. And should hopefully go to internet recovery.
No memory noises. Usually if you're having a memory RAM issue, you're going to hear a beeping sound. We are not hearing that, so that means it's all good on this end.
Should be good. So it's going to try to boot from the hard drive. It's going to say, hey, there's no operating system on the hard drive. Let's try the internet recovery. What did it have? Like 4% when we turned it down?
I can't remember. There it is.
Okay, that works. So it's got a folder, flashing folder with a question mark. That means it has no idea what to do. So we're going to do Option Command R for the internet recovery. There's that 4% right there.
Yeah, I was going to
So
say.
we'll put it back together and we'll get it tested out, and we'll let you guys know how it went. All right, so it installed without a hitch, super quick. I mean, it copied the files from my USB installer to the drive in less than 10 minutes. That was fantastic. I don't think any computer's done that for me. So that was really, really good. It installed in about a total, with updates, I would say it probably took about 25 minutes, maybe 30 max. And that's pretty straightforward. So we're gonna just pop it on real quick and see how it boots.
See me in the back.
Yeah, that's full throttle there, helping me out. Good thing. All right, so we're gonna be throwing on the counter and go.
Whoa.
Bang. And we've got dock and we've got menu bar. That was about it. About what, 15 seconds? So that's pretty awesome. 15 seconds. That's fantastic. The shutdown is also very, very quick. Let me see if I can do this upside down. Click. Wow, this is really hard upside down. So shut down and return. Boom, that's it. No light here. It's not spinning down the drive. I mean, shut down and boot up in totality is maybe 20 seconds. And that's outstanding. So this is going to be a lot more functional for me now. I'm hoping that I have no issues, really. We're having some problems with our card reader, so this seems to work really well as a card reader. It's a really expensive card reader, though, right? All right, I'm gonna find something else to do with it. Now, I've actually got some ideas. You guys should be seeing some videos. I'm gonna talk about Mac OS, kind of do some tutorials, things like that. So look for that stuff coming up. We're gonna do some more software stuff. We do a lot of hardware here. I want to talk about some software. I'm a software guy myself, so a lot of really cool options that are out there. A lot of really cool tools. So we'll talk about that stuff coming up. Appreciate you guys watching. If you guys like the video, hit that thumbs up for me. If you have any questions, drop them in the doobly, as they call it. And yeah, as always, I've been Cerebro for T3G, signing off.